Hello and welcome to My Business Rules. My name is Svetlana Doneva, and on today's program we're coming to you from the historic and recently renovated Cape Town Club here in the heart of the mother city. Now on today's show I'm talking to Bob Skinstad and McChlery. They have recently been appointed to Seartec with the purpose of turning around Sharp Electronics. You both have an entrepreneurial spirit about you. You describe yourself as entrepreneurs, yet you're working in the framework of a corporate environment. How do you manage to marry those two and get that enthusiasm and that entrepreneurship while it's in a big company?
Yeah, I think that's actually the beauty of the whole thing, is that, you know, in a staid corporate environment, it's very regimental and structured, and while we sort of adhere to the basic fundamental rules that govern our business, because we're part of such a big company, we've been allowed the latitude and been, I think the analogy was, we've been given a playground where we can inject our small business entrepreneurial spirit into what is a behemoth business, really, and really take that sort of the childlike approach to it, to do something different than nobody's done before. And I think that's what appeals to me the most, is you know, everybody's got product, and everybody's product competes in a similar level or arena, but being able to take that product and create a bespoke application for it is really what's exciting for us.
Okay, and Sharp is a company with a very rich history, quite a conservative company as well, and they've really given you such a playground to play in.
Well, I think it's twofold. We've been given license by the Seartec group to grow, and Mark makes a great point. It's like a playground, but with a bit of adult supervision. You know, we've still got to conform to everything that a listed company does, but all of the problems that any entrepreneur has, I'm not saying they go away, but you know, it's easier if you've got sort of an older brother looking at problems with you, type thing, and that's what we've got in terms of the supervision. You look at any young entrepreneurial business, and you know, cash flow is a problem, market understanding is a problem, you know, which steps to take next are a problem. You know, unless you do all of those things right, then entrepreneurs fail. And I think we've got that sort of guidance from a well-established business with fantastic leaders in it. But then they also look for the enthusiasm and the understanding. And the enthusiasm and the understanding of our business has helped us repair a relationship with Sharp, who sort of, you know, looked at South Africa as almost the wicked stepchild for a while, because the rest of Africa were growing. I mean, in some of the countries in Africa, Sharp's got a 60% market share. You know, we're sitting on about a 3.8% market share, and we're a much bigger sized market. So we could be much bigger, and part of what Mark and I did, sitting down, analyzing this as an opportunity, is we said, well, look at the scope for growth here. You've got a very competitive brand with incredible innovative products that hasn't been focusing on the one area that we know a little bit about. So suddenly there's a marriage there that could work, but there were a few things we had to get right first.
You touched on that, about the fact that Sharp doesn't have a large market share in South Africa, despite the fact that Sharp Electronics have been available here since the late 60s. Take me through the ups and downs of the recent history of Sharp, and what decisions were taken, and what happened to the company and to the brand that it, you know, fell off the radar a little bit. And how do you hope to, you know, to get it up there again?
Oh, I mean, look, I think to sum it up, you know, Seartec was a textile manufacturing group. They were listed because of that. They were seen as an opportunity by the founding members of HCI for a diverse portfolio group of companies. They have slowly but surely looked at all the assets of Seartec, grown some, bought some, fixed some, got rid of some. And Seartec was the technology play in the middle of that had absolutely no love for 11 to 15 years. You know, they didn't have the budget to grow, they didn't have all those kind of things. And just like any business, you can't fix it all at the same time. So I think the staged approach to it, although it might have been to the detriment of the Sharp brand, has definitely been to the benefit of Seartec and where we are now. Is in fact, everybody understands that Seartec's journey is going to be a tough one, but with some enthusiasm and some injection and some investment, it can grow. And I think that, and Mark's explanation is 100% on point, is that the Sharp brand suffered as a result of that, but it hasn't suffered within Africa at all. You know, so those stories in Africa are great stories which we use as examples for what's possible.
Sure. Now, guys, I'm going to ask you about your plans to reinvigorate the brand. But first, I want to touch on, you've got quite a task ahead of you to get the Seartec group to the market position where it can be. With that comes the team that is working with you. How do you motivate a team to see your vision as the leaders of that team?
It's a curiosity and a people focus. One of the things we haven't done is changed any of our people yet. Okay. We've got a sort of a unique situation in our sort of in our industry, in that we've got a lot of staff that have been with us for many years. And if you try and compare that to our competitors, it's very different. So what we do have is we have a loyalty that exists, and with our approach that culture trumps talent, we think that the motivation and development of our staff is going to be sort of a byproduct of empowering our staff on various elements and various levels, and giving them the room to grow.
Mark, Bob, tell me about your plans to invigorate the brand. What are your plans for increasing the product base of Sharp from the existing mainly office-based electronics, and also the services that you're planning to add to the portfolio?
Well, I think we'll split it in two. You know, my role right now is to not only sort of retell the market about our story, and I say retell because there's been a story there all the way through. You know, the people at Seartec, which was formerly Sharp South Africa or Sharp Electronics South Africa, have got a relationship with a lot of the retailers. They've got a relationship with a lot of the dealers. I mean, there's 425 dealers out there who've stocked our product, you know, so it's never going to be an overnight, but we've refreshed the brand. We've got a fantastic bit of work done by Mike Jabber and his team at Brands Rock. We've reseeded that into our own staff and started there, because they're our biggest billboard, our biggest advert, our biggest radio ad, and, you know, they're telling everybody. And the nice thing is we sent out a company-wide memo about it. We got everybody on board, and we had 5 days of change, you know, and 5 days of change for people where our average working tenure is 20 years is a very fast time to get people to be on board. But we had 323 out of 323 sign-ups. Everybody said, I'm in, I want to go on the journey with you. And for me, that makes a lot of difference. And those people are the people who are going to react when, through the strategic leadership that Mark's already brought to the business, and we jointly try and impose on the marketplace, you know, we need that force of people with us. So we've started there. And in terms of the product, I mean, Mark's already seen some areas where we want to change, and we're also dabbling in e-commerce, and we're also dabbling, you know, for now in different arms of the business which have got collaborative effect on our business.
You mentioned e-commerce. You've made 2 acquisitions of Limtech and OfficeBox, and those are support services which are going to augment the Sharp offering to a more service-based, cloud-based product portfolio, as opposed to just consumer electronics. Yes.
Limtech was the first acquisition, and it was one that made sense before we even looked at the balance sheet and the customer base, because it existed in an environment that paired with ours well in terms of the offering of finance as a value proposition. It sold and distributed a product that required after-sales support and service. It's quite a diverse range as well, is that it's fundamentally a CCTV, closed-circuit television, access control, time and attendance software that links into our products in Sharp, the biometric sort of readers and card scanners. It also does fire detection and suppression technology, and the whole thing with a solution is to be able to integrate it, renders it a solution. And so Limtech is one product with software that comes with it, and the ability and capacity to integrate that product and software into our product and software was really the first step to say this is something that we can work with in the markets we both service. OfficeBox happened, came from out of the blue. It's a phenomenal sort of startup story based out of Cape Town, and it's headed up by 2 guys who are just a bundle of enthusiasm, and they really understand their niche market. And again, they supplied a service into the market that we serviced. So by sort of putting together infrastructure, it allowed us to build a strategy that scaled really quickly, and it offered a unique value proposition for what we were doing within Seartec, what we wanted to offer through Limtech, and also allowed them a bigger pool of potential customers to take their product to market.
I think if I could just sort of sum that up in terms of all three, for Limtech and Officebox and Seartec, where we are right now, there's a complementary customer base and a complementary solution option. So if you look at guys in businesses, whether it's in warehouse and factory space, we might put a printing solution into them, or might have put a printing solution into them in the past, but right now we can now offer a full range of solutions in terms of access control, CCTV, etc., etc. Officebox brings an incredible understanding of the logistics side of our business, which is a huge cost at the bottom of our business, which we're always trying to tweak and understand, because they've got a delivery service as part of their offering. In a way, yes, we've bought the business, but we've also bought the IP and the people who can deliver on that.
What about consumer electronics? Do you think we're going to start seeing more Sharp consumer electronics in the shops?
So the innovation that runs through Sharp as a brand has reinvigorated and re-excited us about the products that they can bring. But we also want to stand back and say, look, we're not a big distribution company yet, and that's not necessarily what we want to be. Perhaps we can cherry pick the innovative consumer electronics products, things like the plasma ion cluster generator, which is an incredible product for the medical fraternity, but also for homes and cars and within aircons, etc. So we're going to concentrate on what we think we're good at, and our relationship with Sharp now, as it's mending and repairing and growing, will reinforce that. They don't want us to be a company that sells white label goods into every Tom, Dick and Harry and try and compete on price. So it's not our offering.
That was Bob Skinstad and Mark McChlery, and this was My Business Rules. Thank you for watching. See you again next week.